Fortunately, this girl was able to fight her way free. This all going down in the middle of the afternoon yesterday and just yards away from an area church. Being moved right now by this massive line and wall of police in downtown San Diego, trying to keep protesters at bay away from the Trump supporters that are on the other side of the road. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of people in the airport at this time, many of them keeping an eye on their flight statuses. It has been clear since about noon when it was about 1 foot. Now you can see how much water has actually run off all the way through the other side of the road. And hi.
They do have sharp teeth in there, so you might not want to get too close.
Yeah, that's as close as I was comfortable getting. This is pretty intense here. I'm leaning on the bed. Right now, it is holding what's left over from the roof at this point. You can even see the tree, part of that tree where it crashed in here earlier. She is all right. She's home tonight, emotionally rattled, of course, after having her hands zip tied throughout all of this. If you look behind us, these are people who have been evacuated, told to get away from their homes. One problem that activists say is sparking them up is it is this far, arm's length away from another local pharmacy that's been a part of Point Loma's community for more than 2 decades. They've been preparing for this next round of storms for the past month, stockpiling sandbags, nearly 100 surrounding their home. Police say that driver turned around and then rammed into 2 of their squad cars. We are getting our first look at the men they say have been terrorizing North County. This is still a very active scene out here tonight, even 20 hours or so after that shooting. Investigators continue to work. We're going to step out of the way so you can look behind us. You can see police still near where that car was pulled over and those 2 officers shot from a relatively close range. And you're going to hear from their radios police frantically trying to save both.
2 officers down. Yeah, roll medics.
10-4, we have medics en route to Acacia. Where exactly do you want them?
A nightmare situation for San Diego police. A traffic stop becomes deadly after gunfire rang out Thursday night, killing 1 officer and sending another to the hospital.
A bunch of pop noises, just pop, 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 pop. And then you hear all the police sirens like coming from on the freeway, down the street, they're everywhere.
The 2 officers, part of a gang suppression unit, shot in the upper body during the stop around 11 o'clock Thursday night near a home on Acacia Grove Way.
Units use caution into the area. We do not know where the shots are coming from.
They're like right up in my backyard. They came in at like 4 a.m. And like searched our house and our backyard and stuff too.
We already have a black and white en route to the hospital with 1 of the officers. We got the second one here waiting for a medic.
1 suspect attacked by a canine and shot on scene, taken to the hospital. Police scouring Friday in search of at least 1 more.
Keep the air clear, keep the air clear. We're taking suspects into custody now. Keep the air clear, please.
1 of those officers dying at the hospital, the other rushed to surgery.
All of a sudden, all these cops came, and they were everywhere, flooding all the streets down here. There was guys running around with these machine guns. They had these M4s and shotguns and all these flashlights, and it was really chaotic.
A night of no sleep for police, pushing on. Investigators and forensics teams searching homes and cars Friday, piecing together a crime with several scenes and lots of questions.
Believe it or not, I was almost crying because, crazy people.
The shot is definitely a handgun. The suspect is going to be close by. We need responding officers to lock down a perimeter and able to start looking for somebody hiding. He could be under a car, anything like that. We don't know where he is, but it's on a long.
All right, well, that suspect that you mentioned that was taken to the hospital listed tonight in critical condition. And at this hour, police not letting many homeowners in that immediate area that they are still working on back home, as they are trying to be as detailed in this investigation as possible. That's it for us live in San Diego. Robert Burns, we'll send it back to you. It's something that has never been done before here in the 15 years since Operation Enduring Freedom began. A Marine killed in action, given one of the highest honors at Camp Pendleton.
It was like a wow moment for me, and it made me very proud of who I knew Larry was.
Corporal Larry Harris was recognized Thursday, his parents and hundreds of Marines in attendance, as an obstacle on the camp's Crucible training course was named in the fallen Marine's honor.
I think about him every day, but to know that thousands of people will think about him every year is crazy to me.
Harris is the only Marine from Operation Enduring Freedom to have a dedicated obstacle. Killed in action in Afghanistan in 2010, Harris was rescuing a fellow injured Marine while under fire when he triggered an IED. The Marine survived the attack. Harris later died from his injuries.
It does bring a sense of closure, but to me it's just a reminder of what he did for us.
Harris was issued a Silver Star after his death. Fittingly, the renamed obstacle serves as the counter IED training station, his mother and widow sitting front row during the ceremony.
It helps me to manage what has occurred over the last 6 years and the emotional strain that as a mother goes through.
A memorial plaque now stands at the center of the training station, telling the story of how Harris gave his life, hoping his selfless actions will inspire future generations of Marines.
These things stay out here for years and years, and just to know that he's going to be out here, in a sense, kind of doing what he does best.
Putting others first is really what it's all about and what he was about.
And to give you an idea of just how significant this is, we're told that most of the other stages are named after veterans from the World War II era. The next round of recruits to go through the newly named Harris Trail, they will be going through it next week.
As soon as I saw the officer there, I kind of just jumped here and was like, in here waiting.
Eddie Reynoso found the closest place to hide after walking past the man police say went at them with a butcher knife.
There was some activity going on up here, so the spotlight went up there,
yeah.
And then they instantly hit me with the spotlight.
It all started when police were called to a domestic dispute at an apartment off Lewis Street near Scripps Mercy Hospital. Investigators say the 30-year-old suspect held a kitchen butcher knife to his boyfriend's neck after an argument. A search helicopter spotted that man shortly after, a block away with the knife still in hand. You saw him just kind of walking up and down the street?
Yeah, he was walking this way.
When officers told the man to drop his weapon, they say he then pointed it at them and aggressively advanced.
The suspect did not comply with the officer's demands of dropping the knife. The officer, fearing for his life, fired one round, striking the suspect.
That suspect died early Saturday morning. The alleged knife can be seen lying on the ground where the man was shot.
The officer fired once, and then I jumped behind the trash cans.
Video of the incident was recorded on the officer's body camera but has not been released. The officer who pulled the trigger has been with the police department for 13 years. Neighbors are still shaken by it all.
Still scared. I'm cleaning the house now crying. They were here even like at 3 a.m. because I kept getting up and looking outside and seeing that they were still here.
You're going to see in this surveillance video that this bad guy, he didn't let anything get in his way of making off with the steal. Early Saturday morning, this daring thief darted off with more than donuts.
I just tried to hide, because I got scared when he pulled the gun and then he pointed me.
Angel Yanez was working inside Yum Yum Donuts on Linda Vista Road when a masked man walked in waving a gun.
He come saying bad words, and hey, give me the money and blah, blah, blah. And he pointed me with a gun.
Surveillance cameras captured the crime. You see the crook pointing the gun at Yanez, who quickly hid. The bad guy then turned his attention to the register, trying to pull it from the counter. Watch the sparks fly when he gets shocked after using a pocket knife to cut the wires.
He got it, but the cables, he was connected. So he pulled it, and then he cannot pull it out. So he took out the knife, and he cut it, and he took the whole thing.
The whole robbery lasted just about a minute. Police arriving at the shop shortly after. Yanez says through it all, he could only think of his family.
You think that this is my end? I mean, that's it. And I tried to cover myself, and I was thinking all about my family, my kids, and that's all I was thinking.
Images from outside the store show the end of the register robbery, the thief struggling to shuffle off with the oversized stash. Police and store owners now asking for help identifying him.
We never know who's gonna come, and I know nighttime anything can happen.
Buddy plays like any other dog, but most other dogs have something Buddy does not.
A funny little detail about Buddy is that he didn't have any teeth. So he's kind of the perfect dog. He can't bite us and he doesn't chew our slippers.
The curly-haired miniature poodle has been part of the Oli family since Christmas.
He had been brought into the shelter as a stray, so we don't know too much about him, but they think he's about 8 years old.
But before Santa dropped him off at his new home, Buddy visited a special doggy dentist.
Most pets suffer in silence, and I would bet that over half of the pets out there have some kind of dental disease.
10 for 11 missing.
Dr. Brooke Nemec owns a few veterinary dental practices in San Diego, but now he's shaking up the industry and conventional pet parent thinking.
People will look at a pet and say, well, you know, if my daughter needed braces or my son needed a root canal, I could justify that. But it's just a dog.
Nemec has started the nation's first Tooth Fairy Fund. In December, he operated on Buddy and nearly 24 other animals from the San Diego Humane Society and Animal Services, free of cost, fixing teeth issues and potentially saving their lives.
They're just not very adoptable. And so unfortunately they languish there and then they suffer, and then sometimes, honestly, they could get put to sleep because of their dental disease because they're so unadoptable.
The Tooth Fairy Fund is still in its infancy. Both clients and doctors can contribute and pay it forward, covering the expense of operations and costly anesthesia.
We donate $1 for every tooth that we extract in any of our practices.
If we can get those costs taken care of and get the animals healthier, it really helps the animal's personality come through. And then it's more of an apples-to-apples comparison when adopters come in.
Judy Rosselli from University City knows her new pup Zoe, a terrier mix, went through a lot.
She had almost all of her teeth pulled. She has 2 canines left that I can see. Literally saving the dog. That's what he did.
And Fox 5 cameras were there as she reunited Zoe with Dr. Nemec to say thank you.
They come back 2 weeks later and they're like, Dr. Nemec, you were right. I had no idea there was anything wrong with my dog, but he's acting like a puppy again.
Allowing these furry friends to fully enjoy their forever families. Robert Burns, Fox 5 News.